Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm back with another video about ZegoCloud. ZegoCloud is a global communication service provider that provides developer-friendly and also powerful SDKs and APIs to build many communication features on their app, such as the video call, the chat, the video conference, and also the live streaming, and many more. So in this tutorial, I'll be guiding you through the steps on how to integrate their live streaming kits. Whether you are building a social media app, an e-learning platform, or any application that requires a real-time video broadcasting, this tutorial will help you get started with ZegoCloud live streaming integration with only 3 lines of code. So with that said, let's jump right in. So for a quick start on how to integrate the live streaming kit in your project, you need to add a Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming as a dependency to our application. So this comes with a pre-built streaming component that allows you to build a custom live streaming into your apps. So we need to add that to our project. So I'll grab that over here, and within my application over here, pop up the terminal and run the command flutter pub add Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming. Right. So over here it will start downloading some packages. So as you can see, you have a successful installation of our Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming dependency over here. The next step is to import the SDK, right? We will do that later. So over here, we need to visit the ZegoCloud admin console and create a project so we can have access to the app ID and also the app sign of the project. As you can see, I have sample project created over here. So let's create a new one, and we need to select a use case for our app, which is going to be the live streaming, right? And click on the next button over there. So you need to give the project a name. So it can be any name. So I'm going to name mine as live stream demo. And over here, there are 2 ways to get started, either with their UI kit or the SDK, right? So over here, we proceed with their UI kit. So you can click on the start UI kit. So this will start creating your live stream demo project for you, right? So once our project is created, we need to select the framework we are going to use, which is going to be Flutter over here. So you're going to build for Flutter, right? So choose Flutter over there. And at the bottom there, you can see save and start to integrate. So I'll click on that button. And there we go. So over here, you can see you have access to our app ID and also the app sign for that particular project. So over here, we need to specify the user ID and the username, as well as the live ID for connecting the live streaming kit service, right? Remember, the live ID represents the live streaming you want to start or watch, and it only supports a single host live streaming for now. And using the same live ID will enter the same live streaming. So they have a sample code where it navigates by rendering the Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming, where you pass in the app ID, the app sign, your username, and also the user ID, right? So before we implement that, let's make some configuration for the platforms, I mean the iOS and also the Android, right? So with the Android, we need to modify the Android app builder Gradle file, where you need to add this dependency in the builder Gradle file. And within that same file, we need to set the main SDK version to 21 and also set a compile SDK version to 33. So that's going to happen within the builder Gradle file in the app. So within the Android app, we can see the builder Gradle file. So at the bottom, we can just paste in the dependency over there. And we need to set the main SDK version to be 21. So as you can see, the main SDK over there. So let's set that to 21. And change the compile SDK as well to 33. So once you have that, you can save in the changes over here in this file. We you need to modify the build.gradle file in the Android/build.gradle file, right, by changing the Kotlin version to 1.8.0. So within the Android app, you can see the build.gradle file is different from the one in the app directory, right? So if you're not seeing the build script over here, that's because I'm using the latest Flutter version, right? That's found within the settings.gradle. So you can see the version of the Kotlin to 1.7.10, and we need to modify that to be 1.8.0. Oops, 1.8.0, and saving the changes over here. So you also need to give the app permissions, right? So you need to modify the Android manifest file by giving the following permissions. So I'll grab the permissions over there, and within my app, Android app source, the main directory, you can see the Android manifest file. I need to paste in the permissions in the manifest tag, right? So within the manifest, you can just paste in the permissions just like this and saving the changes. And there's one more step to follow, right? To prevent obfuscation of the SDK public class, we need to do the following. We need to create a file within the Android directory, the Android app directory, and name the file as proguardrules.pro. So I'll collab this directory, and within the Android, I'll be creating a new file. So I'm going to name this file as the proguardrules.pro. There you go. So in here, we need to paste in this sample code, and we also need to modify the build.gradle file in the Android app, right, by adding this line of code in the build type, as you can see over there. So within the Android app, you can see the build.gradle file. Within the release of the build types, you can just paste in that sample code, the proguard files over there. Yeah, just like this. So once you have this, you can save in the changes over here, then we can proceed. So we are done with the configuration on Android over here. So let's move on with the iOS. So with the iOS, you need to first of all modify some permissions, right? And that's going to be in the pod file. We're going to add this line of code, right? So I'll just grab this sample code. Make sure you place it at the right position, right? It's going to be after the Flutter additional iOS build, right? So within the, let me collapse this directory. So within the iOS directory, the pod file over there, at the end, you can see Flutter additional _ iOS build settings. So below that, you can paste that sample code just like this and saving the changes over here. So make sure it's after the Flutter additional iOS build tools, as you can see over here. So once you have that, you can save in the changes. And the second step is to modify the info.plist file by adding the following permissions to require the camera and also the microphone access. And that's going to be found within the runner info.plist file. So iOS runner info.plist file. So to the date part, you can just paste in the permissions just like this and saving the changes. So that's basically it for the configuration of Android and also the iOS. So let's see the next step. So make sure you have the changes being saved. That's pretty much it. All we need to do is run and test our app, but we don't have our code implemented yet. So let's proceed with that. So within our lib directory, I'll be creating a new file. I'm going to name this file as a live page. There we go. So I'll copy this sample page that returns the Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming. So let's import the necessary dependencies. We need to import the material.dat and also the Zego UI kit pre-built live streaming widget we return. So in case you're not having the predictions over here, you can move on to the website and copy the import statements. Right. There we go. So we need to fix our app ID and also the app sign, right? So which we can get them from the console. So over here, you can just grab the app ID and replace it with the app ID. We need to do the same for the app sign and replace it with the app sign. Once we have that, you can save in the changes. You can also change the username and also the user ID based on your business logic. And within the home page over here, I'm going to return a center widget with a column as its child. The column is going to return the children, where you can specify a list of widgets in here. So first of all, let's set the column main axis alignment of this column to be main axis alignment of center. And over here, you can return an elevated button with an press and also the child. So the child of this elevated button is going to be a test, with a test of start alive. Let's get rid of the cons. So we need two of these buttons, so I'll copy that and repeat it one more time and changing the text to watch alive. So with the press of the button, we are going to navigate to our live page, right? So you can use navigator to push. That takes in the context with the material page route, and also takes in the builder. You pass in the context, then you provide our page you are navigating to, which in this case is the live page. So we need to pass in the live ID. So you can copy that and repeat the same thing when you want to watch a live. We are actually going to navigate to the live page as well with the same live ID. You can also pass the is host variable to be true when you are actually starting a live, meaning you are the one hosting. And when they watch a live, you are going to set that to be false. There you go. So with the live ID, create a test editing controller. We will accept the user input. So I'll create a variable of live ID. That's going to be a test editing controller. So once we have that, you need to provide a test field. So first of all, let's give some spacing between these buttons, right? A size box with a height of 20. And at the top over here, we can specify a test field where we can just grab the user input of the live ID. So it's going to be a test field. So with the controller, we pass in our live ID and saving the changes. So the live ID over here, you can access the test. So live ID.test, then we trim any spaces over here. So we're going to repeat same thing for the next button. Let's get rid of the cons over here. So let's also provide some spacing over here with a height of 20. Let's start the test form for the build. So let's wrap it within a padding, and this padding is going to affect it symmetrically. You provide a horizontal value to be 20, which is going to affect it left and right. And also let's decrete this input, right? So with the declaration argument, you can pass in the input declaration where you specify the border to be an outline input border, and also provide some hint text as well. So let's provide some hint text as well. That takes in a string. That's going to be the live ID. That gives the user a hint of what to enter. So within our lib directory, I'll be creating one more additional file. The file name is going to be random user, right? So this file is going to generate a random user. So I'll paste in this sample of code where we have a class of random user taking the ID and the name, and we have a function that generates a random user from this list of characters and return a random user over here, right? So within our live page, we need to instantiate our random user. So I'll create a variable of random user over here. Then we can call our function generate random user, right? So where we are manually passing the user ID, you can generate a random user ID by calling the random user dot ID. And also with the username, you can call the random user dot name, right? And this will generate a unique random ID and also a name when you are starting a live and also watching a live. So this is how it works on iOS and Android, right? So I'm going to start a live on iOS and join on Android, right? So we need to allow the camera and also the microphone access over here. So I can start over here. You can see I'm the only one, right, associated. That's the host over here. So I'll provide the same ID over here. So it's going to be live _123. So I'm going to watch a live. I'm going to join this room, right? So we are now having 2 participants over here. How cool is this, right? So we can actually chat, having chat functionality when we are starting a live streaming. So live from Android, right? You can see it just reflects on the iOS, right? So the same way you can chat over here live from iOS and send, you can see it reflects. How cool is this? So let me give you one more example over here. Hi there, just give it a send. You can see they have a custom pre-built UI, right? You all have this functionality where you can change the audio effects, and also you can see the audience over here. So that's basically it. So if you're facing issue with the Android configuration, within the Android app, build a Gradle file where the dependencies, you can actually just comment that and also change the compile version to be 34, and you are good to go in case we face issue running on Android. So see you in our next tutorial. Until then, stay tuned.